Likely, at one point or another, you found yourself building maybe a sort of accordion or maybe a frequently asked questions section where you have all of the headings, and then when they click on them, it will show the answer. And we use maybe JavaScript, or maybe you use some jQuery to do this, and it'll toggle every time you click. Very simple, right? So here's a very sloppy way that you would do it with jQuery. But with HTML5, they give us the ability to bake this into the browser. Now, this should bring up, a lot of people feel that we're infringing upon what should be done with JavaScript. They feel that doing something like this with HTML, that's not what it's for. That's the purpose of JavaScript. HTML should be focused on different things. You know what? I can see it from both sides, but I also see it from the vantage point of this is something that we do all the time. And if it makes it easier, who really cares if it's 100% the job of HTML? It allows us to get the job done much more quickly and without depending upon JavaScript. So make up your own mind on that one. All right, let's get rid of all of this because we're going to do it with simple HTML. Now to do this, let's wrap our content within the new details tag. And what's nice about this is in browsers that don't support it, they will simply ignore it. So you don't have to worry too much about it. The worst case scenario is you will see the definition or the content displayed there rather than hidden when the page loads. So now we have our summary, and the summary tag is essentially your heading. And this is what the user will see. And then when they click on it, it will show the content after the summary. But now when I click on it, you can see that it toggles and the arrow updates accordingly. Isn't that neat? Something that we would have had to use JavaScript for, we can now bake into the browser. And then again, in the older browsers in Internet Explorer, it'll simply just look like this without the arrow. So it's really not that big of a deal. Now, one issue that often comes up is, well, what if I want to style that arrow tag? Because it's one of those invisible features, isn't it? How would you target that? You might think, okay, well, we'll set the color maybe on the summary tag. But let's open up the inspector. And if I click on this arrow, you can see it doesn't really seem like there's an easy way for me to target that. If I click on details, nope, how do I target that? Well, there are some ways by using vendor extensions. And what we refer to it as is WebKit Details Marker. So you would want to replace that with Moz Details Marker accordingly. So yeah, it's not ideal, is it? I worry about that a little bit. It's getting hard to style some of these built-in features. Anyhow, though, for the time being, if you do want to style that arrow, maybe you wanted a different color, you would reference summary and then WebKit Details Marker. And then maybe I could set the color to green. And if I come back and reload, now can you see that arrow is now green? So yeah, it's not ideal, is it? It's helpful to have this baked into the browser, but I do not like the idea that it is that much more difficult to have control over that. So the last thing for this lesson is, let's repeat ourselves just a bit. I'm going to remove these, and I'm going to just copy this a couple times. And again, remember, you don't have to place the details within the list items. Now, we can specify the default state. So if we want to say open, that means these two will only show who goes to college. But the one that's open will show the content after the summary as well because it's in an open state. Now can you see? Here's the second one. We can see it, but not on any other. And then it still does the same toggle functionality that you might be used to. And then you can go ahead and style these however you want. So make up your own mind on what you think of this. This is the fun part of HTML5, is making up your own mind. Do you think this fits in HTML5, or do you think effects like this should be accomplished with JavaScript? It's up to you.